Tonight on the WHAS11 19. World Fest has taken over the waterfront, and for many, it couldn't have come at a better time.
I think that World Fest came at a very good time, considering the recent events.
Anything that can bring community together is much needed.
1 week after a mass shooting devastated the downtown, WHAS11's Alexis Jones shares a story of our city's resiliency and diversity. Then,
coming together right now, being in community with one another gives us strength and hope.
Proof there really is no place like home, as the 2023 Louisville Pride Festival kicks off with a kickoff game with Racing Louisville.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lynn Family Stadium is now open.
Why organizers say this year's celebration is set to be the biggest yet. It's all new at 11. Thanks for joining us on the Night Team. I'm Connor Steffen. So if you found yourself anywhere near downtown today, you'd be hard-pressed not to notice the array of vibrant cultures showcased all across the waterfront. Louisville is kicking off its 21st annual World Fest, though the celebration comes with a somber reminder of the loss felt right here just 1 week ago. Alexis Jones and Elijah McKenzie share a story tonight of our city's resilience and amazing cultures.
After last weekend's shooting here downtown, hundreds are gathering for this year's World Fest, not only for the food and entertainment, but to showcase the best of Louisville.
A melody of cultures were heard across the riverfront Saturday, catching the attention of many who came to get a taste of the world.
I think it's needed. Everyone just needs a break and to be with people they love. We just need community.
Especially after the mass shooting outside a Southern restaurant in Lowndes last Sunday, taking the lives of 2 customers and injuring several others.
Every single day, we lose some of our population to handgun violence.
However, resident Todd Pageant says the city has much more to offer than just crime.
Violence isn't always what's around here.
Vendor Jeremy Jackson adds, the World Fest is proof of Louisville's flourishing diversity.
It offers a safe space for lots of different families to form a cultural enclave, and it lets people pursue the closest approximation, I think, to the American dream that we can.
He also says the event highlights the community's ability to celebrate peacefully.
So many people can come together and genuinely embrace one another, to be able to lead with curiosity and lean in to try to understand the different cultural backgrounds that each of the vendors have, each of the patrons have. I think that's powerful.
Not only for visitors to see, but for the next generation as well. In Louisville, Alexis Jones, WHAS 11 on your side.
As World Fest continues its showcase, one group is hoping to capitalize off the momentum. The nonprofit New Americans Initiative is launching a project with the hopes of spurring civic engagement within immigrant communities. It took the first steps towards that goal today, hosting a voter registration event at World Fest. Organizers say the mission will not only help immigrants, but the entire Commonwealth.
We want to get people involved in our government, people involved in their communities, and of course in a representative democracy that starts with your vote. So making sure that we have as many people engaged as possible, as many people registered as possible.
According to the group's website, an estimated 180,000 immigrants call Louisville home, but only 40% of that population is signed up to vote.
Coming up later on tonight in sports, college football is back in full force, and we have highlights on highlights on highlights from all over Kentuckiana. Out in Lexington, the Kentucky Wildcats kicked off their year at Kroger Field against Ball State. Our Sarandon Raboyne was there for the beginning of the Devin Leary era. Then in Bloomington, IU hoped to open up their season with a Big Ten win. Against who, you ask? The mighty Buckeyes of Ohio State. A tall task, but an interesting game for the Hoosiers. And of course, feel good to have college football back. Stick around for some fun later.
Thanks, Mason. Now to the ongoing impact of Jefferson County Public Schools' recent transportation issues. District officials say its early childhood education program is still facing delays. In a letter sent out to families this week, JCPS officials said it will continue to temporarily shelve the program while it works out logistics for transportation. As it stands, there is still no concrete start date for the program. JCPS says a new calendar will be sent out to parents once a date is chosen. And the legal fight over Kentucky's anti-trans law, SB 150, continues. The ACLU of Kentucky is back in court requesting a temporary block be put in place on the state's gender-affirming care ban while legal proceedings play out. During oral arguments Friday, one of the 3 federal judges hearing the case said compassion is a key component of the argument on both sides.
I feel like there's compassion both directions. It's not crazy to say there's a compassion component to the other side of this, that maybe this is the kind of thing some people might regret if they do it at age 14, 15.
Gender-affirming care is currently banned in both Kentucky and Tennessee for minors after a recent decision made by the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Advocates say the decision does serious harm to transgender young people, but attorneys representing both Kentucky and Tennessee say states have a right to regulate gender-affirming care as they see fit because of the legal precedent set in the U.S. Supreme Court's 2022 Dobbs decision.
Now, the fact that the plaintiffs and their favored medical interest groups disagree with Kentucky's judgment does not lessen Kentucky's sovereign prerogative. The only position our Constitution takes on this hotly debated topic is that the states play a frontline, indispensable role in regulating the practice of medicine.
Attorneys representing transgender youth and their families say the teenage years are exactly when gender-affirming care should be administered.
The evidence in this record shows that withholding treatment, even up until the age of 18, withholding treatment and allowing puberty to occur consistent with the sex identified at birth is extraordinarily harmful to these children.
The arguments come amid a flurry of rulings made this week stemming from attempts to limit the rights of transgender and LGBTQ+ people across the U.S. Looking ahead to tomorrow, that's when Louisville's zero-tolerance noise policy takes effect. The move has some metro business owners concerned with how it may change the landscape of their operations. As of tomorrow, City ABC officials can issue fines to businesses if unreasonably loud noise is heard more than 50 feet from the property. Even just one citation comes with a hefty price tag, a $2,500 fine. Shop owners worry a simple misunderstanding could completely shift business prospects.
Decided to not book live bands anymore. I mean, it takes the winds out of our sails a little bit.
That's the part that we're having a tough time with, just because the situation, the noise, and the balance is a really nuanced conversation.
A Metro ABC spokesperson clarified the regulations have been in place since 2003, just not this strict. In a statement, they said in part, quote, "We want our businesses to be successful and for our residents to enjoy peace and quiet at their homes." In Florida, people in areas hard hit by Hurricane Idalia are just starting to get a full picture of the damage. It comes as President Joe Biden made a trip to the state Saturday, notably, though, not meeting with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. ABC's Allison Kosick reports.
President Biden arrived in Florida Saturday afternoon, taking an aerial tour of some of the devastation left behind by Hurricane Idalia.
As I told your governor, if there's anything your state needs, I'm ready to mobilize that support. Your nation has your back, and we'll be with you until the job is done.
The president and first lady visited Live Oak, about 80 miles east of the capital, Tallahassee, meeting with residents, local officials, and first responders. The area took a hard hit when the storm roared ashore Wednesday. Crews are still working to restore power to many. The president highlighting how the community has come together to help one another.
When people are in real trouble, the most important thing you can give them is hope. There's no hope like your neighbor walking across the street and see what they can do for you.
President Biden had planned to meet with Florida's governor during his visit, but on Friday it was announced that DeSantis had no plans to meet with Biden. The governor's office in a statement saying such a meeting could hinder disaster response efforts. The president saying he was not disappointed by the governor's decision.
He may have had other reasons but he did help us plan this. He sat with FEMA and decided where we should go, where would be the least disruption.
The president was joined by Republican Florida Senator Rick Scott.
First off, the president did a great job with the early declaration before the storm hit the coast. That was a big deal. It helped all these first responders.
While the president was in Live Oak, Governor DeSantis toured Keaton Beach and Horseshoe Beach, two other areas that were hard hit by Idalia. Allison Kosick, ABC News, New York.
The political disconnect between both sides is a break from the recent past when Biden and DeSantis met after Hurricane Ian hit Florida last year and following the Surfside condo collapse in Miami Beach in summer of 2021. But DeSantis is now running to unseat Biden, and he only and he is the only Republican presidential primary, with the trail with Adalia barreling towards his state.